And Sara Bareilles joins us now. Sara, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
That was Bess, who in the lead character in the show, who was played by Brittany O'Grady, who's really terrific. Who's a young singer dealing with her own self-doubt as she goes through this. I'm interested because the title of the show comes from a song that you wrote early on that was supposed to be on your first album, but basically folks told you no, it's not good enough, and you put it away. But what led you to go back to it?
You know, it's so funny. I love the poetic justice of this part of the story. But I was in conversation with my partner, Jesse Nelson, who also created Waitress with me. And we were talking about a theme song for the show and wanting to kind of encapsulate the thesis statement. And I was trying to write something and just really couldn't quite crack the code, and remembered that this song has been laying dormant for 15 years, and I shared it with her, and she's like, this is, perfect. And so, yeah, it feels like this song was just waiting all these years to find a home, I guess.
Did you find it's interesting when you go back and look at something like that, you go, well, this was actually a pretty good song.
Yeah, it becomes really clear how fixated I was on everyone else's opinions very early on. I still struggle with that, but as a young artist, you're really looking for validation outside yourself to keep getting permission to sort of show up as you are. So that's the journey we see Bess go on. That's the journey I've gone on, and so many of my friends and colleagues.
Right. You mentioned Jesse Nelson, who you wrote Waitress with. You working together on this show as well. You'd never written a musical before. You've never written it for a TV show before. Is it harder? Is it the same?
No, they are so hard, and they're very different. But this was so deeply challenging in ways that I was not prepared for. And I think it has to do with just the pace of television. There's such an incredible volume of material to create and to produce. The technical sides, the logistics of getting a production shoot up and running. Thank God we had wonderful people working with us. But I really wasn't, aware of the magnitude of trying to get something like this off the ground.
You've talked about dealing with anxiety before. How are you dealing with it through this pandemic?
Not well. It is, every day is different. I haven't had sort of anxiety spikes like this since I was in my early 20s. And so it's really, it's a strange thing to return to territory like that. But I cope with a lot of therapy and meditation. And I think really just coming back to the fact that we are in times that we could not have prepared for. So I'm trying to just be a good student right now and kind of learn how to cope day to day. And I'm getting better than I was, but it's not a straight line for sure.
And you lost someone you worked closely with on Waitress, actually, Nick Cordero, the actor who died of coronavirus just recently. Can you tell us what your best memories of him are?
Oh, God, all of them. I think, when we talk about Nick amongst friends in our community, no one has anything negative to say about him. He was deeply kind, really, really talented, loving, funny, buoyant personality, but just a kind man. So my heart breaks for his wife and son, Amanda and Elvis, but we will honor his memory. So grateful I got to know him, and you see he's galvanized, his story has galvanized this beautiful outpouring of love and support and hope in community. So that's at least a good thing.
Sara, you were playing the lead in Waitress in London on the West End when coronavirus shut everything down. Are you worried about when theater will finally get back to normal again?
Oh man, I'm desperate for, some sense of normalcy in that part of my life. But I think what I know is that the appetite for coming back together, we've learned what a flimsy surrogate the screens are for being in a room with each other. I miss people so much. And I think the appetite for theater will be through the roof. And I think, hopefully we'll just be able to do the work we need to do while we have this time and prepare for how to make it safe and inclusive.
All right, Sara Bareilles, flimsy surrogate the screens are. I think that's a wonderful expression. It's so true. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. You can watch the first 3 episodes of Little Voice on Apple TV+.